Following her coronation on the 2nd of June 1953, the Queen made a broadcast in the evening, reflecting on the events of the day, thanking the public for their support and promising to serve the nation. She said, "Therefore, I am sure that this my coronation is not the symbol of a power and a splendor that are gone, but a declaration of our hopes for the future and for the years I may, by God's grace and mercy, be given to reign and serve you as your Queen." And now, over the last 70 years, she has truly demonstrated that reign and service with grace and dignity. Hello, I am Sterling Libbs, and welcome to the Path of Greatness, the podcast. Today's episode is a special episode commemorating the awesome service of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and the lessons we can all glean from her servant leadership. I am originally from a Commonwealth country, Uganda, and now a naturalized British citizen, of which I am so proud of. One thing I like to do is study success and greatness, and Her Majesty Elizabeth II sits right up there in being both successful and great. So, as the commemorations of her Platinum Jubilee are marked throughout the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth countries, I wanted to personally pay tribute to her here at the Path of Greatness podcast and share with you, my dear listeners, the wonderful lessons we can all learn from her dedicated and servant leadership over the past 70 years of her reign. On her 21st birthday, on April 21st, 1947, whilst in Cape Town, South Africa, way before she even became Queen, the then Princess Elizabeth, while giving a speech to the Commonwealth nations in her duty as a serving royal, much like most royals do now, said, "I declare before you all that my whole life, whether be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong." And I'm not surprised that that spirit of service has been carried through her reign as Queen ever since she ascended the throne in June 1953, 70 years ago, making her the longest serving monarch in the history of the British monarchy. I am not privy to the workings of the monarch and the palace, but one thing I know for sure is that time tests the truth in everything. And 70 years is a very long time to hold an institution such as the monarchy intact, and let's not forget the Commonwealth too. And to have generations of people adore you for that long speaks of nothing short of greatness. The pomp and circumstance, the pageantry of it all, says volumes of the love, devotion, and adoration people still have for Her Majesty after these many years of service. And that says a lot about her character, leadership, and fruit of service. From the pictures on the television and the celebratory spirit throughout the country over the past couple of days, the nation is truly grateful for the great service of Her Majesty. The commemorations began by trooping the colour on Thursday, 2nd June 2022, where the Queen's birthday was held starting at 11 a.m. The colour was trooped by the 1st Battalion Irish Guards and more than 1,200 officers and soldiers from the Household Division put on a display of military pageantry on Horse Guards Parade, together with hundreds of army musicians and around 240 horses. This annual event has now marked the official birthday of the British sovereign for over 260 years. On Friday, the 3rd June, a service of thanksgiving for the Queen's reign was held at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Great Paul, the largest church bell in the country, was rung for the service. It was made in 1882 but fell silent in the 1970s due to a broken mechanism. It was restored in 2021 and has been rung on 8 occasions since, but this was the first royal occasion it was rung. Though the Queen did not attend the service because she had experienced discomfort at events on Thursday, according to the palace, the service nonetheless was a wonderful one, with Prince Charles, heir to the throne, representing Her Majesty at the service. The sermon, delivered by the Archbishop of York, the Most Reverend and Right Honourable Stephen Cottrell, concluded his sermon by saying, "What I see in Her Majesty, the Queen, is someone who has been able to serve our nation faithfully because of her faith in Jesus Christ. Perhaps there is no better way of celebrating her Platinum Jubilee than by doing the same ourselves." Then on Saturday the 4th June, there was the Platinum Jubilee party at the palace. Hosts Kirsty Young and Roman Kemp led live coverage of the Platinum Party at the palace, and it was aired live on BBC One, BBC iPlayer, and across the BBC network. The celebration saw famous faces from the world of entertainment brought together to perform for a night of musical tributes to celebrate the Jubilee. Over 22,000 people attended the event, including 10,000 allocated in a public ballot and 5,000 tickets for key workers, and there were loads of people at the mall too, and millions viewed it on television, including myself. On Sunday, the 5th of June, today, as I record this podcast, there will be the Big Jubilee Launch. Over 60,000 people have registered to host Big Jubilee Launches on the Platinum Celebration weekend, with events ranging from world record attempts for the longest street party to back garden barbecues and everything in between. Over 10 million people across the UK are expected to be joining the celebrations to share friendship, food, and fun at Big Jubilee Launches as part of this nationwide act of community friendship. People across the world are also joining in, with over 600 international Big Jubilee Launches being planned throughout the Commonwealth and beyond, from Canada to Brazil, New Zealand to Japan, and South Africa to Switzerland. Also today, the 5th June, the Platinum Jubilee Pageant, the Gold State Carriage, led by the Sovereign's Escort, will lead the Platinum Jubilee Pageant, embracing the latest in digital technology to evoke the excitement and majesty of her journey to be crowned 70 years ago. And while the Queen won't personally travel in the regal Gold State Carriage, there will be a fabulous surprise, we are told. The pageant will serve as an opportunity to gather and pay tribute to Her Majesty. It will culminate with the singing of the national anthem, God Save the Queen, and a gospel choir to the sounds of the band of Her Majesty's Royal Marines. The pageant will bring to life iconic moments from the Queen's reign, as well as showcasing our changing society over the past 70 years. 10,000 people are involved, including the military, over 6,000 volunteers, performers, key workers, and 2,500 members of the general public. People from all over the UK and across the Commonwealth have given their time and creativity to build this event and celebrate this momentous occasion, and I say bravo to all of them. National treasures and iconic figures from music, film, sport, and the arts will also take part in the pageant. including much-loved celebratory names alongside military personnel, key workers, and volunteers. What a wonderful 4 days of truly remarkable celebrations of great leadership and the person at the helm of it, Her Majesty Elizabeth II. I have long held the belief that leadership is sacrosanct for orderly living. But to lead well, you must be a servant. Servanthood is the one essential thing about leadership. Want to be great? Have a servant's heart. The true beauty and merit of servant leadership is that it makes you a queen or king at heart. You win the admiration and trust of those you serve. And if the heartwarming events of this long Platinum Jubilee weekend are anything to go by, I think you can see the evidence of that admiration and trust showered upon Her Majesty for her exemplary leadership and service over the last 70 years. Since ascending the throne in 1952, aged just 25, Her Majesty has overseen a broad spectrum of political leaders during her time. In total, the Queen has seen 14 prime ministers during her reign as British monarch, from Winston Churchill, her first prime minister, to Boris Johnson, the current prime minister, as the Platinum Jubilee is celebrated. Her Majesty's reign has provided a beacon of continuity over an extraordinary breadth of change. Though the Queen's visits to number 10 Downing Street have been somewhat infrequent, the discreet advice which she has offered to 14 prime ministers throughout the last 70 years, based on her unrivaled institutional memory, has been invaluable and far more regular. Prime Minister Boris Johnson, in his humble address to Her Majesty, which he gave in the House of Commons on the 26th May 2022, was so poignant, and I couldn't agree more with him. Here's what he said. Madam Deputy Speaker, since the Palace of Westminster was founded more than 1,000 years ago, it has been war and peace, plague and plenty, the rise and fall of empires, and all kinds of revolutions, scientific, industrial, political, and ecumenical, stylistic, and almost 50 monarchs. In trying to rank the achievements of those monarchs, it must be admitted that not all of them set exemplary standards of personal behavior, and quite a few were removed violently and prematurely from office, but in our history, no monarch has ever served this country so long as this one, with the first Platinum Jubilee ever. Far more importantly, no monarch has ever served it so well. When Barack Obama was asked at the end of his time as President of the United States which world leader had impressed him most, he paused, and his mind doubtless ran through the gallery of contemporary figures, and he said, Queen Elizabeth, and I believe he was right. And that is why next week, the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth will be unabashed in celebrating not just the institution of the crown, but the individual who wears it. This remarkable woman, who by God and her right has led her country through good times and bad, who has dedicated her life to her people, to her beloved Commonwealth, and to the very idea of what a constitutional monarch can and should be, and who has already racked up so many superlatives, some of which the Speaker has already referred to. In her 25,677 days as Queen, Her Majesty has undertaken more than 21,000 official engagements in well over 100 countries. She's granted royal assent to some 4,000 pieces of legislation sent to her by this House, hosted 112 state visits, and been served by 14 prime ministers. So far, across all her realms, she has offered counsel and wisdom to more than 170 heads of government, including 2 generations of Trudeaus. So far, she is the holder of at least 7 world records, including the most summer Olympiads opened by one person. Although at only one such ceremony did she parachute out of the helicopter in a pink dress. And of course, there was one Olympic medal ceremony when she could claim to have bred both the rider, the Princess Royal, and the horse, a claim that will likely go unrivaled for some time to come. And if you need evidence of the mark she has made on our capital city, not 1 but 2 London transport lines have been named in her honor. And it is not so much what she has done as the way she has done it, getting the best out of people, inspiring them to serve others and to serve their communities, helping to create that invisible thread of pride and allegiance that tugs on all our hearts and makes us happy to serve, or at least to do something for our country in the way that she serves this country. And I know that prime ministers are not supposed to relay their conversations with the Queen, and I will not, except to say that her knowledge and understanding of politics and world affairs is profound. And there have been times when I have been scrabbling to remember a historical date or the name of an African capital, and she has got there first. And when it comes to some subjects, anything equestrian, I am simply nowhere. And I bet I speak for every prime minister who has ever had an audience with Her Majesty when I say that our conversations are always immensely comforting because she has seen the sweep of it. She has seen the cycle from gloom to elation, and every time her country under her has gone forward from strength to strength. She has seen an empire transformed into a happy commonwealth that countries are now bidding to join. And in the 1,000-year history of this place, no monarch has seen such an increase in the longevity or the prosperity or the opportunity or the freedom of the British people. No monarch has seen such technical advances, many of which British scientists played a leading part, from the dawn of the internet to the use of the world's first approved COVID vaccine. No monarch, by her efforts and dedication and achievement, better deserves the attribute of greatness. And for me, she is already Elizabeth the Great. That's what Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, said. And I say, bravo! That's it. Yes, Elizabeth the Great, the people's queen. Like I said, I couldn't agree more with what the Prime Minister said in that address, apart from the sentence about Her Majesty parachuting out of the helicopter in a pink dress. Her Majesty, through thick and thin, has remained steadfast, resolute, and has stayed the course, and we owe her a huge debt of gratitude. To me, she is not great because she is the Queen. No, she is great because of who she is and who she's become as a person. And that greatness has then been brought to bear and manifest in her reign and service as Queen. We can learn a lot from Her Majesty and her 70 years of reign and dedicated service to her people, can we not? Her faith in God through Jesus Christ and her commitment to serve teaches the value of belief, courage, endurance, and love in our everyday life. Her relationship to her family and to her late husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, her strength and stay, teaches the importance of unity, family, and community, and the value of counsel in life. Her open-mindedness teaches us the value of not taking things personally, the value of not being prejudiced, and of not being judgmental as we navigate this fast-paced world we live in. her servant's heart and jolly outlook to life teach us the value of taking your work seriously instead of taking yourself too seriously. Her strict confidentiality and advisory role to her prime ministers teaches us the value of having mentors, advisors, and being trustworthy in life. She is truly remarkable. Thank you, ma'am, for your great service. And so let us all show and display a love and devotion to reciprocate the love, devotion, and leadership she has shown to the whole country over these 7 decades. And on behalf of all of us here at the Path of Greatness podcast, let me say, just as we sing it in the national anthem, God save our gracious Queen, Elizabeth II. I am Sterling Libbs, and you have been listening to the Path of Greatness, the podcast. Thanks for your attention. Peace and love to you all. Have a good day and take care.